Yes, welcome to Footy and Friends this week. Oh my goodness gracious me, what a week of footy, what a week of friendship, and what a week of everything. Hey Mick, how are you?
Good on you, mate.
You well?
Yeah, I'm really good. I'm a little bit saddened that we miss our great mate Brett, who's gone to Bali and turned his...
How many Nazis do you reckon he's had? How many Nasi Gorengs do you reckon he's had?
He wouldn't be a Nazi.
I don't think he would be either. He'd just be doing...
He'd just be eating
crunches
fresh fruit and doing crunches and wading in the water.
Last week we had Izzy Smith on, obviously. He's a bit rattled by our shit starts, but we got Leigh Montagna in today. How are you, mate? What do you think of that? Was that as good as a start
That was an amazing intro. I was thinking, wow, when are we starting? No, nice to be here. Nice to come in, and thank you for the coffee. Beautiful, too.
Mate, we'd love having you in, and obviously for the big weekend, you had a big week down there at Castlemaine.
Yes. Castle. The locals hate it being called Castle, mate.
I don't do Castle. That's an Adelaide thing, mate. It's a South
record.
Australian thing. They're disrespectful people, and they don't... I don't know what it is.
Down at Camp Reserve.
Camp Reserve, yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Wasn't Camp
ground.
Reserve, was it?
Come again?
Camp.
No, it was Camp Reserve.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... Go on,
Before we do, I just want to say,
That was good.
A big thank you to our friends at Carlton Draft. This episode today is brought to you by our friends at Carlton Draft. You didn't do much yesterday.
Yes.
Lightly putting that. But did you have a couple of Carlton Drafts with the boys?
I certainly did have a couple of Carlton Drafts. That was the plan at the end of it. We'll get into it later. But I had a carload of mates come up, so they were keen. They were getting stuck in the Carlton Drafts right from the start. So
did you go in the carload with the mates?
No, I went down on the Friday with the family and kids.
Great prep.
We went down the night.
No, he did. You went and trained.
No, with the family. I went and trained with them on Tuesday. I drove down Tuesday. Go and trained with them.
That's really good.
I'm
just
starting
to
to see whiskers all over this. Like you've been in the car for a couple of hours, cramped up on the Tuesday.
Yeah, I didn't get out and do the back rolls halfway, which might have been costly in the end. And I didn't wear the compression tights on the drive.
Yeah.
So now it starts adding up. Yeah. And the pizza the night before the game, probably not the best prep either. But I went down the night before with the kids. We went and stayed at Dalesford, nice cute little cottage there, and had a night there. Thought that'd be a great idea. But you know, when kids have got different beds and no one slept, so that have probably contributed to it. But then, Saturday got to the ground. Beautiful day. Beautiful old ground. They've got the oak trees like right along the boundary line there, and I was feeling good. And I was a bit nervous going into it, but once I put the footy boots on and started doing the warm-ups and all that, and a few little bumps, and
you look good too.
I'm like,
you
this
look like
cool.
Robert Harvey. You had the 35 on.
Yeah, I was thinking more Nick Dacos, but no, maybe.
No, not really.
And you rolled the sleeves up?
Well,
the sleeves were long.
I sort of mucked up because on the Tuesday when I went and trained with them, I said, I need a long sleever. I saw the conditions that Dyl played in and said, I ain't playing in the short sleevers, and I thought the tuck-up arms might not look as good. So I said, give me the longie and I'll roll it up. But when I got there, it was like 20 degrees.
Yeah,
it was a hot day.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, you going with the longies? I'm like, yeah, I put in the request. So, unfortunately...
To the property steward.
The property steward, yeah. He went and got the number 35.
How's, it's great to have Joey here, obviously, and we've spent 3 minutes going through what he did before the game, the drive up, the prep, the dinner, and I think the game review is going to be a little bit shorter and sharper than the warm-up.
So we're sort of teething it out a little bit.
Right,
just
we've
to
got
say,
to stretch the segment.
All right, so you got your jump, but then what happened?
Did you have the team meeting on the ground at half-time reserves?
Well, then, this is where I reckon it backfired. I made the call because I was going to start in the forward pocket. I then made the call, said, look, just for the theatre, but also get a touch early. Can I start in the centre bounce? And I'll just do a flip straight away. A bit of the old Dusty Martin, Kane Lambert.
Did the same thing.
A little bit of a flip.
I used to do that in the NEFL as well, by the way.
And whilst Joey will tell the story in his own words, I've got it verbatim.
We've got verbatim. You got your own.
I've got a text message from Bailey Henderson, otherwise known as Blake Henderson, down there at Castlemaine, the captain, former Werribee Tiger. And he said, I just asked for a quick, obviously, game review. And obviously there wasn't. This is one paragraph long, 4 sentences. Demanded he was hit to at the first centre bounce, and that was as good as it got. He became the designated tactical coach for 3.5 quarters to follow. So that was it.
Yeah, that was it. That was pretty much it. So I wanted to be the hit too. Thought get the perfect start, get a hit. Ball didn't come my way. But
Call 3 o'clock.
I wanted the 9 o'clock, but they were doing it the other way around. The ruckman goes, oh no, well, I do the clock the other way around. I'm thinking, the clock only goes one way. Anyway, I just where do you want it?
Ruckman.
Ruckman. Seriously, that's a different story. Those big blokes.
Mate.
So anyway, didn't get the first hit, ball, bit of a scramble, and then I was lurking around, handball received, ground ball clean, you like your ground balls, clean, no fumble. And then that's when I went to kick it, I just saw a bloke out wide, corner of the eye, went to kick it long and tried to kick it out to him, and it went off the side of my boot, and this is no word of what the crowd all laughed. They laughed, right? There was a laugh. But then I thought that moment, I went, oh no. I thought, I feel my quad here. And then you have that little moment where you think, surely not. So I started to run, and as I ran, I felt that, like, the grab when you had a softish off it. And I went, oh shit, yeah, I've done the quad here. I'm thinking, what do I do? So I tried to sort of run around for the next 30 seconds. I'm thinking, nah, this is bad. This is not good. So I did the flip. Same early in the centre bounce. I'm drifting forward. And then I thought to myself, nah, this is not good. So I'm sort of hobbling around, and I'm like, so I came off and thought, we're going to have to try and work. I knew I did it good. So I got the deep heat. Oh. the trainer got the gloves on and rubbed the deep heat in it. I said, strap it up as tight as you can, and I'll see how I go. I went to do a gentle kick on the boundary line. And, you tried to do it, and I knew as soon as I went to gentle kick, I'm like, nah, I can't even kick. So I thought, I'll go back out, and if I get, I'm going to have to kick on my left. Now, I don't have much of a left foot, but that was my only chance. Played about another 7 minutes. I had one opportunity. The ball came over the back. I thought I might have been able to take a mark. This is my moment. Went over my head, trying to turn to run for it. And it was grabbing. It was painful. I'm like, nah. And then I got worried about being a liability because the coach was like, empty out forwards, get up the ground. And then I'm thinking, hey, no empty out here. So I did start to feel bad. So after 15 minutes, I was off, and that was my day done. So that's it.
Oh, good.
And that's it.
And it hurts the quad too, doesn't it?
Like they grab. You can't actually play. Like a calf, you could probably keep playing through and push it. The quad, calves are bad. And my right leg too. It was grabbing.
A little bit of Hall of Fame stuff with this Carlton Draft thing. And Dyl, you look very smug at the moment because you've got through your game.
No, I just want to say there's a reason I went at pick 4.
I now put my hand up. There is a reason why I went last. I've been humbled through this whole experience.
Because obviously last year Nathan Buckley played and he went, he lasted like 6 minutes. Did a hammy.
Yeah. No, I beat him by a minute.
You beat him by a minute.
I did 7 minutes, he did 6.
But was he pick 1?
I'm not sure, actually. I'm not sure. He might have been. Yeah.
But and obviously, what would you rather out of these 3 across the Carlton Draft Hall of Fame in terms of the down the bottom Hall of Fame? Joey Montagna, 8 minutes, 1 quad. 1 off the side of the boot. 1 9 hit that was meant to go to 3.
Yeah.
Nathan Buckley, who lasted 6 minutes.
Hammy off the bone, wasn't it?
Hammy off the bone. Fair aura about him, kind of. And then Kane Corlins played a full game and had 3 possessions.
No, 6. It was
6, was it?
Yeah,
6, really?
6. And I think a couple turtles as well. I think there's a few.
So would you rather be...
No,
I'd rather be
Joey and Bucks every day of the week.
Yeah. How did you feel for the 3.5 quarters that you were there?
Look,
non-contributive.
I felt bad. I felt bad for the people that had made the effort to come and see because there were some people that had driven a couple of hours, and so I felt bad for them. I felt okay for the team because they were winning easy. First quarter was an awesome start.
They played well, didn't they?
7 goals to 2 at quarter time. So I was like, good. In the end, I wanted to just get out of the way. I'm like, I don't want to mess with this because winning was the main priority. I wanted them to win, and so they were winning. So I felt okay about the team. It was more just the fans, and then it was probably more my little boy, my girl. Like my boy's 6, he's a footy obsessed, but he's never seen Dad play. He thinks Dad's his superhero. He comes running out quarter time. How are you, Dad? Sorry, buddy. Sore leg. He goes, that's okay. He goes, when are you going back on? I said, no, I'm not. When he goes, what? That's it, Dad. He goes, you had 1 kick. I said, yeah, sorry. So I felt bad for the kids. So at half time. My wife and kids have come into the rooms. I said, we're going back to Melbourne. My mum and dad come in. Well, we're out too. My brother drove up with his little boy. He goes, we're leaving. So all my family come. I only had my group of mates there that drove up. Because they were on the cans, they had to stay because they were my lift home.
Oh, my God.
So in the end, they stayed. They had a great afternoon. But, let a few people down.
No, mate, it was good. And as I'm sure a lot of people through the gate, a lot of good money for the Castlemaine Footy Club. And a big thanks again to Carlton Draft for putting this whole thing on.
Absolutely.
And just on Castlemaine.
I just want to say one more thing. Sorry.
Yeah, mate.
That... Hands down, it's got to be the best local initiative. It is so fucking good. The way that everyone gets talking about it, I'm a fan for life now. I can't wait till next year and to see who they pick.
Because they've done...
You might get a game.
Well...
Did you see last night we did the first crack and the Commissioner, Jonathan Brown, put out a statement, put out a press release, basically just denouncing my performance. Scathing. But he did say at the end of it, he goes, apologies for Joey's performance. He goes, I promise as Commissioner, he goes, now that Dusty and Tom Hawkins have retired, I promise the 2025 class will be much better.
Oh, yeah. I think this year was a dud draft. It was a dud draft this year. So they might have to pick 4 was definitely a dud draft.
It looks a better crop next year, just on paper. We'll wait to see how they perform. But a quick shout out to Castlemaine because they're a side that last year have been
number of years.
Yeah, down the bottom couple.
Yeah.
Won't make finals this year, but they've got themselves up and going.
100%. No, they've only been winning 1 or 2 games a year for the last 4 or 5 years, and the team they beat every year is Maryborough, who haven't won a game for a long time. But this year they've won 5 or 6 games now. They're just outside the top 4, and they are flying. They're playing some good footy. So great for them. They should be playing finals next year. So your man Bailey,
Blake. Hopefully they do jump back into the Carlton Draft mix next year because Dustin Martin is actually from Castlemaine.
Yes.
So, or maybe he just goes play for him anyway.
Do you think we'll ever see Dustin Martin again?
Probably not.
I don't think so.
Probably not. He'd be like Bud. Him and Buddy just going like the legends. They just do their sort of legends thing somewhere else.
There's a few sellouts like ourselves that are keen to do these sort of things and stay relevant. But I think a few of them are just like, you know what, I never want to do that again. Which is it's so awesome in a way. Like you just can do something and then just go, no, I'm done. See you later.
Yeah. Hopefully he's at peace with whatever he does. That's what you want. Because hard is when you retire from footy, it's a tough little period to find the next phase. You just got to find whatever it is for you that you get your kicks out of.
It's a community part of it. It's just like being around people, feeling like you're actually... Routine. Yeah. Routine's a big one. Just like knowing where you're going, knowing what your calendar's doing, knowing what you're doing in 3 weeks. Like that was my hardest thing was I'd open my diary and be like, they're like, what are you doing next week? You're like, I have no fucking idea what I'm doing.
Yeah. The way I described it was like, as a football player, you always had that little man on your shoulder. Like, what am I going to eat? Like what training session, make sure I don't drink. Once that man's gone, it's a little bit of a like, shit, that man's gone. Like, I can do whatever I want. I can like not train and I can eat whatever. Like it is a period of getting used to because we're just so conditioned to having the man on the shoulder sort of in the back of the mind, always thinking about what we do as a footballer.
I found that with drinking the most.
Yeah.
Like you'd always say, I can't drink, I've got footy, even though you probably could.
Yeah.
And now, like, well, what?
Thursday.
What I'll do? No one likes me, so why not? Anyway, boys, good weekend otherwise, besides the quad and everything else. It's been a good round in the AFL, as much as we love
Depends if you're attached to a club that
for most teams
got the result.
What a round of... we'll get through that. But big round of footy. And then when I talk to Joey about his career at the moment, which is absolutely dominating. One of the best ball-by-ballers. We love our ball-by-ball here. Yeah. We've got a few... aspirational ball-by-ballers. Have you heard of Nick Butler?
Yes, I know.
He's sort of in the twos of
I know.
ball-by-balling.
Played juniors with Butsy. Junior footy,
Was he in the twos?
I think he's told that story a few times. Did he pick you up on a way of training or something?
He might have picked me up. We used to go together, Ivan O'Grammar, and he was a bit older, so he would have driven. Yeah. He was one of those tall blokes that looked good, but then sort of when there was under a high ball, sort of not his game, sort of bit more sort of skill, run and kick, and one of those sort of really pretty looking sort of tools.
See how Joey took 30 seconds to tell that story?
Yeah.
Butts would take 30 minutes.
No, he would have thought. No, he literally would have talked about it. But I picked him up on this corner, and then we drove over here. We drove, and Joey said this, and I'm like, mate, shut the fuck up. Honestly, that's a great verbatim story there. Moving on to the round that there is. So, kicked off Friday night. What a game this was. Swans v Pies. Did you boys watch this?
Yeah. How good is it when the superstars just rock up? Like Heaney has just sort of gone missing a bit for 6 weeks, and Warner, and then all of a sudden Heaney and Warner just went off their heads again, and it was like, oh my god, that last quarter was one of those ones. You're like, oh my god, Heaney again. Oh, this is incredible.
What do you reckon happened? Do you reckon there's a 3/4 time spray or a stitch up there, and they're just like, you boys have got to flick it, or they just go like because they're both on, they just start going?
I just think these superstars have that innate desire to want to win, to turn the game. They've got the ability, they've got the mindset, and off they went. And the Pies couldn't do anything about it.
14 both in the last quarter.
There was always going to be a response from the Swans.
Yeah,
they lose by 112 to Port Adelaide, so they started fast. And there's so much of it that it might. I say so much, but it might be 2 or 5% of mindset and where they've been for the last 5 or 6 weeks. That there was just no way this week Warner, Heaney were going to be down.
But they weren't that great in the first half.
They didn't play amazing, but that was probably always going to be a thing. They weren't just going to flick a switch and play their best again, but they just had to find a way, because when you lose momentum, it just takes a little bit of time to turn. It doesn't just happen. So maybe that last quarter was the turn, because you're right, through the middle periods of the game, they were getting well and truly beaten by the Pies.
Horse, after the game, I saw a little snippet on socials, and I think that's why he said that's one of the best wins, if not the best win they've ever had.
Yeah.
Because they didn't dominate the game. They weren't playing super well. Like Goulden was held till
14 touches or something.
Yeah, something like that. He kicked the winner obviously too, but they weren't great, but they just found a way to get it done.
Yeah.
That can really kickstart them for heading back into it, because were they on top now?
Well, they'll finish top 2, whichever way it is. Most likely first, but if not second. So they're going to be playing home at the SCG, probably all the way through. So that puts them in the box seat still to play in a grand final. So that's why you certainly can't write them off, even though they were struggling.
And the Pies, despite losing, all of the results across the weekend helped them.
Yeah, they did. Yes.
So Friday night, the heads hit the pillow for a lot of the fans, thinking season over. But like the Essendons of the world, Carltons,
and the Dogs,
Dogs, and even probably Freo, fall over. I suppose Geelong Freo was somewhat a kind of swing either way, but Collingwood's still alive.
They are, absolutely. If they can beat Brisbane and then they got Melbourne last game, and if results go their way, they could still sneak in. And you know what the crazy this season is? It's like not ridiculous. All of a sudden we rock up first and go, the Pies? Pies are playing finals? Or Jeepers? You know?
Each week is just, you don't know who you're going to get. No. Like you look at the Giants-Brisbane game, where everyone, like not many people would have tipped the Giants to beat Brisbane.
Not many people at all.
Not many people.
Yeah. Good one.
He gets 1 or 2 of them a week.
Oh, at least 3. At least. I don't know what it is. On that game as well, post-match, McRae, after the game, complaining re-umpires.
Yeah.
What did you think of this?
Well, there was a sense of irony, wasn't there? Because I remember a certain Kangaroos Collingwood game where there was a 50-metre penalty that probably should have gone the way of North Melbourne, which would have given them the win, and then they complain about not getting a 50-metre penalty go their way. It's just the swings and roundabouts of footy.
You might not be able to talk about this, Mick and Joey. You know about this as well, but the best coaches in those press conferences actually put hidden messages in there.
Yeah.
Like, do you reckon he's saying that to do something else, and then they put little bits in, like... If you actually know when you're in the four walls of a club, they say things, but they might be hiding it to maybe take the pressure off something else that's happened to the team.
Scott brothers are
Yeah. So, like they'll say something about this to then get the load off Darcy Moore, or they'll just throw little bits and pieces in. So maybe there's something in there that he's done that just because that'll get the headline. They'll leave us alone about something else.
Sometimes that's the case, but then also just the way social media works now is Craig McRae spoke for 10 minutes, but the only juicy bit was him saying if that was at the MCG, that's a 50, and that becomes the grab, when really he was just saying that as part of a broader discussion. But then you're right, then it becomes a bit of a, they're
smarter than that though now. I reckon they know that,
they know.
and they know what's going to piss them off. So they sort of go, look, if there's something else bubbling, just throw this out there.
And then
you might get a little fine, but it takes away from everything else.
Blowing a 27-point lead with 10 minutes to go.
Literally. Brisbane Giants. Anything else on that game? Where do we see them, Collingwood? So we reckon there's still a chance if they get their wins up?
Yeah, there's still like a chance. I don't think they're in the best 8 sides at the moment in terms of what their form looks like. So
Swans next week have Essendon, which they should win, and I'm pretty sure that's at the SCG as well. I think we'll have to check that out. No, it's not.
It's
and Pies have Brisbane at home.
Yeah, so that's the tough one. If Collingwood do beat Brisbane, well, then they are showing that they're in some form. If they've knocked off Sydney and then Brisbane in consecutive weeks, so they'll probably earn their spot in the 8 if they make it. But, they would start underdogs.
Comes down to that one for them.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I love Callum Mills. I reckon he's one of the best players in the comp. This year, obviously, shoulder surgery, not the way you want to get into it. He hasn't been great in the first 4 rounds, but it takes so long to get back and find your feet.
Yeah.
You just got to keep going with him.
Yeah, 100%. It's a bit like Will Ashcroft. He's taken about 6 weeks, played his best game. Coming back from 12 months out, or a long time out, takes a while. He's a star. They can play him anywhere too. That's what I love about Cal Mills. You can plug him anywhere and work around the superstars at the moment. So, John Longmire's got some good headaches because he's got a lot of mouths to feed as well. Like Parker had influence in the last quarter and all the other boys in there. So, they're going okay.
Giants defeated the Lions. This game was unbelievable. I was actually about to head to my best mate's wedding. We were watching this, and it looked like Brisbane had it done and hosed. Left. Giants won. I couldn't believe it.
Side point on this game. So Brisbane lost, but throughout the week, a player called Levi Ashcroft declared that he will go to Brisbane.
This. Yep.
Did he say that?
Announced
that he will select the father-son route into the AFL, and he's just played his first game against men in a VFL game.
Yeah, I saw this.
And he's had 35 and kicked 1. So there's another one.
You're going to be all right?
I think you'll go okay.
Yeah, okay. I don't know these days. I don't know about these guys. Might be a flop.
Yeah.
Who knows? We'll see.
Well, the big question is always, can they compete against men?
Yeah. And he did.
He did.
I love how they're doing it now with the young guys are coming in. Was it Finn Callahan played for Richmond on the weekend as well? Played well.
He plays for the Giants.
Sorry,
no.
Finn O'Sullivan. Verbatim. This game, Cadman and Jones flicked it. Good to see Cadman get some confidence. I suppose he's probably his best game he's played.
Yeah. Still getting traded?
Well, I wanted him to go to North. I was calling it mid-year.
Right.
I like to think outside the box.
Yeah.
Joey. I don't just read what you've said on the weekend and go,
one.
look, Joey made a good point. I'll fucking regurgitate it and make my own. I go, look, let's think outside the box here. What's no one saying? Cadman, he signed a 6-year deal. Good on him. Who gives a fuck? It doesn't mean he can't be traded, does it? Like, it doesn't mean he can't be traded.
That's true. That is correct. I'm not sure why the Giants would want to trade him.
Yeah, but if North want him, they can get him. And if he offer him enough money, who can go? Like, it's not impossible.
No, I like your thinking.
If he went to North this year, geez, it would be really it'd be unbelievable. But he played well. Jones, who I've been a fan of for a very long time, he played some very good footy too. Stepped up when
he
it was counted.
Kid with the coloured lid. He was terrific. Amazing how they can flick a switch, the Giants. Like, they were getting pummeled. Could have been a long way down at quarter time. They've just got an ability to just, when they get rolling, they get hot real quick. So that's what they did. They've won, I think, now 6 on the trot, or at least 5 on the trot. And the scary thing is there's still a bit of upside with them. So, yeah, hard one to really judge the Giants, but on their day, they could beat anyone. They've got a team that's got one of the highest ceilings of all these teams in the top 8, that if they played their absolute best, theirs probably stacks up with any other team.
Green, 4 touches.
Toby, that's rare.
I know this man, and I can tell you he would not be happy with that. Out of not many, I'm nervous for next week. So they've got
didn't see any of it.
They got Freo next week.
Didn't see any of it. Who went to him?
Starcevic.
Oh right,
yeah. They reckon he could be. Well, he was also the one that played on Rankin, and then Rankin sort of put his shoulder into his head.
Yeah,
I reckon he could be one of the hardest blokes to play on.
Yeah.
Obviously, it shows.
It just kind of looks like it, even the way.
Oh, mate, he's tough.
Puts
Got the shaved heel.
Shaves
He's fit. He's just one of those blokes that
He's thick.
Yeah,
is he erect?
He's quite erect. He's Paul Chapman erect. He's quite erect. Yes. I wouldn't want him coming to me. That's for sure. Not what I meant, but anyway, I wouldn't want either or of those things happening. It was a good game. Giants, Brisbane. That, like, again, as we said, that really sums up.
Two good teams. Brisbane could have won. Brisbane still could have won. They were inaccurate. So they're 2 good teams. 2 teams that deserve to be playing finals and can be easily playing in a prelim.
We don't want your excuses here. Moving on, North versus West Coast. What? Just give us a
mulligan a week.
We've got that. That's for the Richmond Saints game. I just can't even be fucked with that one. It's so shit. I just can't.
You do one game that's a mulligan.
One game is right.
Skip on. I like that. That's a good way to do it.
It's just like, who cares? Like,
you can take that one.
We should do first crack. No, that one's the mulligan game. We just skip by that one.
We can't bother.
Where do you want to start? At the end?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's work our way back. Actually, no. Talk us through Friday when you went up there.
We actually got the later flight. We actually got the later flight in. Bolognese. I actually went with a bowl of bolognese and a plate of salmon.
Did your mates drive up and your family?
My 2 brothers actually flew up for the game. Down.
Yeah. Does Clarko keep an eye on how many blokes go up and go to the buffet, like Ross Lyon used to do?
The stuffet.
They used to just keep an eye on who went up the second or third time.
No, the eyes probably do, Dardo. Well, Todd Viney, our footy manager.
Who's the one you'd be worried about? Which Kangaroos player you sort of worry about not get up too many times to the buffet?
Well, Todd, not that he's a player, he got sick of there being no apple crumble and ice cream before. So he's actually contributing to the problem, because now the ice cream and apple crumble come out. I better not shame anyone going up for 3rd and 4ths at the buffet. But anyway, no, disappointing. Disappointing way to finish. And I did watch First Crack last night, and I think Kingy summed it up pretty well in the last kind of 90 seconds. Our guys had countless opportunities to just deflate the game, really. We kept the ball live a little bit too much. We mucked up some fundamental stuff, weren't clean, some goal line stuff, some defensive acts. So we'll review that game tomorrow. The player, and we were speaking off air, I think Kingy did say this in the contrary last night, like, we're now in games, and West Coast is the side we should be in games. But since the bye, there's only been really one outlier in terms of being in games. That was against Sydney. So now that we're in games, the expectation is to be able to put those games to bed. And despite it all going a little bit pear-shaped in the last 2 minutes, we actually had a lot of opportunities in quarters 3 and 4 to put the game away. Didn't. Gave them a little bit of rope, and they pulled it back in.
Sounds like a press conference.
It does, doesn't it? He does this sometimes.
Gets into press conference.
We speed it up on the edit. It's just like, okay, good on you, mate. 10. One thing I will give you, and you can take this to First Crack if you want, Joe.
Yes,
Take this stat. I sometimes look at the and when I say sometimes, this is the first time I've ever done it. I look at the
Stats.
the stats here, the DT,
Because
the
you
dream
didn't watch the
team.
game.
Well, no, I did watch half the game. Had the wedding, remember? There's 10, the top 10 players on the ground.
Yeah.
7 of them are North, so that's a good sign that you're playing the good footy. Tristan Cherry. We spoke about this probably 8 weeks ago, and you said how good he is. He's a bloody good
Is he
ruckman.
All-Australian ruckman?
I think
30
so.
possessions.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I've called a lot of the North Melbourne games, so I hope these All-Australian selectors have been watching North games as closely. But he's been the most consistent ruckman, I will definitely say. Now, he maybe doesn't have the highlights, but from what he does in regard to the tackles and the defensive acts and the possessions, and it's hard to go past him. It is hard to go past him. He's putting together one hell of a year.
And after the press conference is done, the serious stuff's out of the way, let's have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
So Tristan Sherry. Ruckman, yeah?
We don't like him.
yeah.
We normally, traditionally, we don't like him. in the show.
He takes a mark early in the
weird.
game. Great stuff. He's got the helmet on. He goes back. Like, you know, you've taken a mark. So you've got time and space, yeah?
Yep.
30 seconds normally, isn't it? Or
7.
these days?
Not
Not a goal, is it? Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
He's on the wing. He's looking around. He's looking like, getting a little bit ahead of himself. He's kicked it on his left.
Oh, he's done the wheel on the left.
thing with fucking ruckmen,
They get way ahead of themselves.
What is wrong with them?
They don't think
No,
normally.
like literally, it's like every fucking ruckman. They're like, oh, I've had a couple kicks. Let's just go fucking swing on my left in the corridor
Yeah.
with 3 seconds to play. What is wrong with you, mate?
Yeah.
Like what? Honestly, just don't do that. You'll be all Australian and you'll be have 10-year contract for $5 million. Just like relax.
Yes.
Anyway, Sheasel, absolute star. He was on Dyl Friends this week.
Yeah.
I've never met.
I hear every time I hear him speak, I'm like, wow. You know, I don't even know, but I'll put this on record. He will be the spokesperson of the AFL players as soon as Dangerfield retires. You know, Danger's the voice of the AFL players. When he speaks, it's like Danger. He'll take over from Danger, I reckon, and he'll be
call.
like whatever he says will be like he'll speak on behalf of all the players.
Mate, we had him in here, and I was sitting back going, you take over,
Yeah.
mate, because you sort of know what you're doing a bit more than me.
Was he looking at you waiting for a question?
He's like,
You're like, just ask yourself a question.
He's like,
mate.
it's people, not teeple. And I was like, yeah, fair enough. No, he's as impressive a kid, and I do get lucky to speak to a lot of people on this show. But in terms of maturity and just like, you know, all the things that we love in a person, it's pretty incredible.
Watch his. He kicks 2 goals. I can't remember.
He went off with a bit of an ankle. Or
Yeah,
knee,
a little
or
bit of
was
an
it?
ankle, but
Yeah.
played the game out. Watch one of his goals. I think it was. It was the goal to the right of the screen. Because he kicked one to the left. Oh no, he kicked both to the left. Anyway, one of his goals, the ball's in midair and he pats it down like a basketball. I don't know if I spoke about this last week. Taps it down like a basketball, like Scott Pendlebury. I feel like he's the only one in the competition. Literally made the ball talk back to him, dodges the one that kicks the goal, and he actually like trains and practices that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of people will be like, when am I ever going to use that? But he runs along with balls and like tries to, you know.
We say this again, don't we, as a development coach and someone who loves football. What are the odds? You practice something at training and it bloody works.
You can't just flick the switch.
It's a great lesson for the other kids, eh?
Do you know who someone you've spoke fondly of as well, and actually Harry Sheasel spoke very fondly of him too. It's good to see him playing some really consistent good footy is Powley. He kicked a beautiful goal on the weekend, stoppage goal too, on his left.
In the first.
Very nice.
The left or the right screen?
It was
I
left.
can't remember which one.
Don't know, but it was a
he
great
played
goal.
well.
So there's a lot
Where
of
did
love
you play,
there.
Pally? Where'd you play him this week? Back
He
and
played
forth?
mid.
Played in the mid.
Yeah, he played mid. So
Hey, we're an Australian show here as well, boys. No Vic bias. What do you think of West Coast? They did some good things to win the game as well.
yeah, they did.
Yes.
Like Oscar Allen kicked 5 in the second half.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Like you said, I don't think they had clear standouts in terms of the game across the 4 quarters. McGovern is the one I would assume would get kind of
Coaches' votes.
nearly max coaches' votes. If it's not Sherry and Sheasel, McGovern's probably Brownlow Knight's going to be those 3. He just, and reviewing the game and doing the tape, like his ability, those best defenders to be able to anticipate and react first to kind of messy ball coming in, makes it look very simple. So he was really good. Oscar Allen, so that either end of the ground they had a couple of winners there. But the midfielders got going later.
In terms of dominant backs, 2018 McGovern, like I don't think he'd seen anyone more. Like he just
Impenetrable.
knew, like they were gonna mark the ball.
I always remember McGovern. Every time I think of him, I just think of John Worsfold beating him in a 2K time trial. Do you ever hear that story?
Really? When he was coaching.
He got sent away for like 3 months or something, didn't he? Like,
Yeah, he was one of those.
He'd be the buffet guy.
Stuff, eh? It's good stuff. It's good
He was
stuff.
only a rookie. It's a great story from a rookie list and a guy that clearly came in with, you know, the talent, but the work ethic.
Yeah.
And he's just found a way, got to work. And
100%.
Very, very good
No,
player.
no, very, very good player. No, good to see. Luke Davies-Uniacke as well. We love him. Just want to say his name, really.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next game, Freo versus Cats. Again, I think we both tip Fremantle. You'd think at Optus getting this done. Jeremy Cameron's 250. Geelong, they win.
Just a professional team.
Yeah.
They just find ways to
11
win.
points.
They've got a great coach, best coach in the league. They've got players that have been in all situations. Dangerfield was amazing. He put his Superman cape on again. He's just gearing up for a big final series.
Aren't the Dockers meant to put the Superman capes on? Isn't that Pav's thing?
Pavsy was it the Superman
Yeah,
cape?
put the Superman capes on.
Yeah.
So you're saying the Cats
They stole his cape.
went to Freo's turf
And he went home
and stole their saying?
Pav was getting the cape out. He goes, "Where is it?"
Then
And bloody
there's Dangerfield
had it.
coming in, winning clearances, running out. Off he went.
Where'd I left my cape?
Lock your capes up.
Pav's, what a transformation, Pav. He's gone from Superman capes to over the Olympics.
Calling the
Being
equestrian.
Yeah,
He was doing the show jumping. He was calling the show jumping.
God, I didn't see that. Good on you.
Who was the other one I want to just bring up? Tubby Taylor calling the diving.
Yes.
Who's that?
Mark Taylor,
Mark
the cricketer.
Taylor, Fujitsu. You still don't know who he is.
No. I still have no idea who he is.
Mark Taylor, left-hand opening
Australian
batsman for
cricket
Australia.
I
captain.
don't follow cricket
Yeah.
at all.
You
I
don't know
wouldn't-
who Mark Taylor is?
I know Mitch Marsh, and that's about it. And Adam Zampa. And Mitch Stark. And Nathan Lyon. They're my four.
Anyone else?
No, that's it. Good game, though. So, Ryan, 36, obviously.
Back to your point, like
Yep.
the top 7 of the top 10 are Dockers.
Yep.
Again, in terms of stats, but then the weight of numbers becomes Geelong in the middle, in the chunky part of the stat sheet. The role player area.
So, are you saying here with the ladder, the closeness of this year, that Freo are a chance to miss?
I think so.
Massive chance now.
Really?
Yeah, they need to at least win one game. And they've got the Giants in Canberra this week and then Port Adelaide, even though it's at home.
Gotta find those Superman capes.
Yeah, so Freo need to win
Pabs
at
comes
least one.
back from the Olympics are finished, so
Yeah.
he'll be back shortly, get his cape back, and then we'll win. Next 5. So yeah, Freo have Giants and then Port, so they've got a tough run.
Yeah, got to get
Shit.
that.
You'd think Geelong, obviously, they're going to consistently go. They get St
They
Kilda
might finish
and,
second.
and
They're a
West
match.
Coast.
Geelong they'll probably finish second on the ladder, Geelong. So they're going to...
Fucking hell, can Geelong? I
Amazing.
don't want Geelong to win it again. It just gets boring. That's just annoying.
They play Saints and then Eagles.
Yeah.
Wow. There you
Saints
go.
will beat them though.
Did you anything else from this game? Like, what did you think from Fremantle? Why'd they not win?
Couldn't close it out again. That's now the 5th time this year Fremantle have led at three-quarter time and lost. They only kicked, I think, 7 points in the final quarter. So that's a concern for them. Just late in games, not being able to close it out. Caleb Sarong was brilliant, went forward, kicked 3 goals. Like, he's adding that to his repertoire now as a midfielder that can kick goals.
Goes plays the deepest. He goes
Plays out of the goal square. Plays a little small full forward. But in the end, Geelong just found a way. Dangerfield stepped up and the Cats, were too good.
Hey,
Disappointing.
just to the listeners out there, we have some incredible football minds in here today. We've got one of the best coaches in the AFL. We've got one of the best ball-by-ballers and footy analysts. I don't want to breeze over that.
No.
Talk us through, Joey, your week. Like, what do you do throughout the week to be across all that? Like, are you literally watching every game start to finish?
Yeah, I try to on a Saturday, because Sunday night's the hardest thing with first crack, because I've got to try and be across every game. This week was obviously a bit harder because I played the Carlton Draft. So there was a couple of games like the Brisbane Giants and the couple in the Northwest Coast. I haven't seen much, so Kingy took care of that. But normally we'd try and be across all 9 games. It's impossible to get through all 9. So there's generally one.
Oh, just ask Brett. If I haven't seen a fucking minute of one of them, he wants to send me to jail. Like, I'm like, mate, fucking relax.
And especially when they overlap with no Thursday nights, it does make it harder. So there's generally one where you look at the result, and it might be one of those games you only need to watch the first quarter or watch the last quarter, depending on the scoreline. But the rest you try and get through. And then I catch up on a Monday. So Monday's my day off, spend it at home with the kids after a weekend full of work. So then I will catch up with some bits and pieces. I might watch the last quarter of Northwest Coast or some stuff. Then Tuesday I get back into it. I go, and that's when I start my week of... I do a little bit of work for Fremantle, so a bit of stuff for their list management recruiting.
Wow.
So I go into their Melbourne office in Docklands and spend the day in there with the David Walls, the list manager at Freo, and I sit in on their recruiting meeting. So they go and watch the under-18s, and I sit there on the board, like listen to how all the kids are going, and And then we chat through some players that we might be targeting to sort of trade or free agency or players we're watching. So
you find
that's where I give my input.
I noticed you were very fucking quiet about Fremantle before, wasn't he? He didn't want to give it. No. Yeah, didn't want to say anything.
Superman coach.
But then the rest of the day I spend in the office and again start going through some vision and stats and start to think about, okay, what can I talk about from my shows Wednesday, Thursday.
So you got Wednesday,
midweek rub, and then the little watch list segment on AFL 360.
Yep.
So I'll find some content for that. And now Thursday nights we do a show for Fox Footy, like a first crack preview.
That's
so
awesome.
find a little bit more content, just little tidbits. All I try and do when I find content, I try and say to myself, what will people watching go, oh, that's interesting. That's all I want. Doesn't necessarily always have to be right, be wrong, but people go, oh, that's interesting. And I try and always have a feel for balance.
Listen to that,
I was just thinking we should try that.
Yeah.
We should try that.
You can't bring up.
Yeah.
You know the last time that Freo played Essendon was in 1999 at the MCG? Take that one to bloody...
Take that to first crack.
Take that one to Joey.
So that's sort of it. And try and spread. I always think about, okay, which teams haven't we given enough love to or who have we banged on? Because there's only so many times you can go, oh, let's talk about how good Nick Dacos is. It's sort of like, come on. You can do better than that, even though it just keeps hitting you in the face. So you try and branch out a little bit and then by Friday's a day off and that's where I start prepping for the weekend footy.
And you usually call 2 games a weekend? Or one?
Definitely do one for Fox, mostly on a Saturday, and then Triple M on the Sunday.
Yeah.
And then if there's Thursday night footy, we'll do that as well.
Yeah.
So it's pretty
incredibly busy.
The footy season would be just
pretty full. But Monday, Friday, sort of home, and
Yeah.
so they're my days off.
Yeah.
I know you might not be able to talk too much about it with the Fremantle stuff, but that's incredibly fascinating. I love the off season. I think literally the trade period for me is.
People love, and people can't get enough of it.
I cannot get enough of it.
Yeah.
Do you? Where do you see things happening this year in the off season? Like,
well, it does feel like there's going to be a fair bit of movement with contracted players. You know, there's a lot of talk about some of the West Coast Eagles boys,
Cadman to North.
Some of the who?
Cadman to North.
Cadman to North. Mate, I might throw that up. I might go back to the Freo.
I love the Giants.
I'm only joking. Yeah, so there might be some. There's a bit of talk about the Richmond players that are contracted and a few others as well. So clubs have got to get aggressive. I think it's such an even year. You've got to try and find a way to be able to jump ahead of some teams and see if they can make some moves.
It's very interesting for Fremantle as well with all the, Bolton, Baker.
Bolton, Baker.
Even Graham going to West Coast, isn't it?
Rioli's the other talk.
Rioli was actually very
dominant.
good on the weekend. My goodness, he was good on the weekend. Anyway, let's move on. Thank you for sharing that, mate. That's actually really impressive what you're getting up to. Moving on, Essendon, Gold Coast.
Let's talk about the last quarter.
Just makes me smile.
Why does everyone hate Essendon?
I'm a sick puppy. It just makes me. I don't know why.
Why does it make you smile? Because Essendon lost.
Yeah.
So many people are in the same boat as you. They get pleasure out of watching Essendon lose. I feel bad for them.
I'm with neither of you, really.
Yeah. You were about to say you're with me, and then you thought,
I'm kind of with both of you. Like it's like,
But I'm actually happier for Gold Coast that they won out of Melbourne. Sorry, in Melbourne.
Has anyone got those? I don't check.
We tipped this last week.
I don't check Facebook much, but
I'm hoping you don't because no one fucking uses Facebook.
No. But like, my age group, I'm mid-30s. Yeah. Facebook when I was at school was kind of the thing.
I'd say later 30s. And
Slightly. But those friends that passionately follow a site that put up the Facebook statuses, Essendon is overwhelmingly the side that I have in my feed.
Yeah. They're passionate. They are really passionate supporters. And I think that's why it's maybe a bit there's a, slight tinge. Look, I feel a bit sorry for him now because I love Drapes.
Yeah.
Love Dyl Shield, these guys. Like, I love the individuals, but something about, I think it's a Carlton Essendon thing.
Yeah.
Historically, that for me, but.
Actually, there's a bit of North Melbourne and Essendon.
I feel like everyone hates Essendon.
But gee whiz, they had their chances to win it.
Yeah, they blew it. They blew it. Your man Drapes.
Is it as simple as that?
Yeah, it is. Sometimes it is. You can kick 1 goal and 9 in the last quarter and gettable goals.
You kick
not
5
hard
goals
ones.
for you win by 5 goals.
Brad Scott looks like a genius, and now questions and that's footy. That's footy. Sometimes you kick the goals.
Hard to cop.
There's so many ways we can go with this game, but I think you talk about the winners really. Like Mac Andrew. He didn't really he had a bit of a weird game, didn't he? Like, it started, he kicked 4, but he wasn't like a great 4.
Yeah.
But then finished so well. It stood up. Like, there was that part where you nearly thought he was going to lose his cool.
He tries to fight everyone. Yeah, he's got to get that out of him. He loves trying to fight everyone.
He even fought King.
King
his own team out. Push King. Get that out.
He had that you did look, you're like, oh no, is he going to lose it? And then he comes in, takes one of those marks, like contested, yes, but to catch a ball like that, it's very up there. It was flying at all angles. Had a bit of
different shaped ball. Isn't it?
It was like Gaelic. Yeah. I could do it. But yeah, very cool, very calm, collected. Goes back and clutch.
Didn't look good off the boot.
No, it looked like it was going to miss, didn't it, from the camera angle?
Looked like he just shaved it out to the right. But
wonder what that does for Gold Coast now. Monkey off the back, like that's their first win in 18 on the road. Like,
they just had to win.
They had to. Eventually, it was like the roulette when it just kept spinning on red. Eventually, it was going to land on black. Now they've got one out the way. I think it sets them up beautifully for next year. I like the way they're going about it. You can see how they want to play. They've struggled to finish their work inside 50. I wonder whether Mac Andrews is a permanent forward, whether he can work alongside like Jed Walter and King, whether that's the combination going forward, whether he stays as an elite interceptor.
I've been really... I love the intercept markers. Like, I love when Charlie Coleman goes back and plays back. But then you think as well, like, to win games... You've actually got to kick goals. And I know you've got to stop kicking goals, but you've actually got to kick a score as well.
Yeah.
So you do have to prioritise players that are kicking goals. But for him, I do feel like he is that intercept is great. But I don't know. Playing forward is a lot harder than playing
harder.
defence.
Yeah, everyone, absolutely.
Like, so if you can get a good forward, I don't know what you do there.
Yep.
Speaking of list management, I know you're not working with Gold Coast, you're working with Freo. But what would you look for them to bring into their team? Because you feel like they just need something, don't they? I don't know what it is.
I don't know if they're far off. I don't think they're far off. Because I think, so it was all the chat about like, getting Dusty Martin.
Yeah.
And I was at the camp, they didn't need Dusty. Because I remember in 2009, we were going to get Ben Cousins at St Kilda. So we just played in the prelim. And we had Ben Cousins. And we thought he was going to add, and that would be the piece that was missing to take us to the next level. The very last minute, it fell over. I think Ben Cousins was a bit too honest to Ross Lyon. And then Ross came in and said, right, you know what? We actually don't need Cuzzy. He looked at me, he looked at Dal, and looked at BJ and goes, if you and you just go to the next level, we don't need Ben Cousins to come and be the saviour. And that was sort of a little hit home message. And then we all became all Australians. We went on to play back-to-back grannies. I think with Gold Coast, that's a bit the same. Instead of getting Dusty Martin, I'd look at Bailey Humphrey and go, mate, you're going to have the biggest off-season and the biggest pre-season, come back fit and strong, and you can be out Dusty Martin. You could kick 40 goals playing as a forward next year, and you put it on the midfielders to take the next level, and take the next step, because I think they've got a lot there. I just think it's just that the last piece that, Mick's trying to work through the Kangas, that winning piece, the holding each other accountable week in, week out, that's the only thing holding them back, because I don't think they're missing a lot.
Look at the names. Like Flanders has gone to another level this year, but he's probably, again, still got levels to go to. Noel Anderson, Rowell, Bailey Humphrey you mentioned. The first three I mentioned, there might be 2 to 5% improvement in them. Bailey Humphrey's a kind of 20 to 30.
Yeah.
I think we all know the level he could go to. And then they've got this crop of academy guys that have just come in that have just had 12 months. And as we know, that first 12 months as an 18-year-old, you're kind of just figuring it out. And then they get their first off-season, and a few of them really pop. They're a side to watch.
But Charlie Ballard, Will Powell, Joel Jeffrey, there's even Lockie Weller. All these other guys can still go to another level with what talent they have.
And you look at Jed Walter as well. He could be absolutely anything.
Yep.
Lukosius finding his way out of the team, though, is Yeah.
How long's he contracted for?
Don't have it in front of me.
I think maybe one more year.
Yeah.
But I think it's a back-ended. I think it's a lot of money. Yeah. But I think he's worth other clubs pursuing. I'm not as hard. Like, he's a talent. He can play. Maybe he does need a fresh start. But I think a club would love him on a wing or a half-back flank. Oh, yeah. He'd be a beautiful player.
He plays forwards harder than back.
Yes.
And he's played up. He kind of has to play a little bit taller than he probably is and bigger. Yeah,
I think it's just a bit of a statement piece. They're like going, look, he seems like one of those guys, and from all reports, very much loved, elite performer. Maybe not doing his best work this year, but it's almost like Timmy goes, hey, if he can drop him, we can all get dropped.
And it's the whole, it's the pick one thing that kills him. If he was picked 23 in the draft, we wouldn't be talking about Jack Lukosius like this, But because he's the pick one, they just have this added level of performance and expectation that for a lot of them is unrealistic. But I'm
excited to see where they come next year, though. I reckon you're right.
They could just come with a rocket. They could.
Yeah.
Trying to see if he did they play him in the twos? Don't think they did. I think he just had the full weekend off.
Maybe a bit of management. Who knows?
Rory Atkins was down at Windy Hill.
Rory, he would
have
racked him up.
42.
There you go.
Did he?
There you go. D's Port, bit of a nothing game.
Yeah, it was a nothing game.
The horny one's doing some
horny things.
Yeah, he's a very good player. Loves his fourth quarters, and I think for me, and maybe because I was, always wanted to be this player, and to be honest, never quite eventuated. I had so much respect for the players that always stood up when it was the game was on the line. You see Patrick Dangerfield does it time and time again. He flicks it when he sort of needs to. Cripper, he flicks it. James Hird back in the day, he used to flick it. Horn Francis he flicks it a bit.
He does. He's got that flick in him. He's just got the competitiveness. He's got that real desire, and he's just going to keep getting better. The fitter he gets, and he's a star. The mids were getting to work again. Rosie and Butters, Horn Francis, when they all play well, Port generally win.
How weird, footy these days. It's a crazy world, and I still remember 6 to 8 weeks ago we were talking about Ken Hinkley, and you drive out to Port Road, and every sign on the house said "Sack Port," sack Ken. And we said on this show, just relax a little bit with what's going on over there. They're sitting second on the ladder.
Yeah,
I think you're going all right at the moment. Just relax. And I'm really, where do you fall on this? Because I think, and before you're talking about. We're talking about Gold Coast just then, and then earlier there was another team we're talking about, and it was more about just sticking fat, not making panic decisions. And it just shows how time and time again you've got to just not react over a week.
Don't overreact. Don't overreact. That's our job in the media, to overreact. The clubs have got to stick fat and not let the noise, the overreactions influence them, as the Kangas have known too.
Yeah, you've done that too.
The Damien Hardwick 2016.
Yep.
Now get rid of Damien. 3-time premiership coach. Mark Thompson, 2006. Piss him off. Next year wins a premiership.
Vossi was under all sorts of pressure mid last year, and then they went on a run and almost got to a grand final.
It is being a head coach is like Vossi may come under pressure within weeks. So they've got to have.
Yeah, they say don't go up. You're never as good, never as bad. On the equilibrium, but geez, it's hard. When you're on a roller coaster, it's hard.
Bevo.
Bevo.
Oh, Fags
as well.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Jeez, I just think at the end of this year, I think we said this last week, but my favourite thing on grand final day is the 10-minute preview they do before, and they explain the year.
Yeah.
Imagine the year this year, half of these teams. Like you look at Brisbane, and I wrote them off at the start of the year. I was looking like an oracle. I said they wouldn't make the 8.
Oh, that's right. Out. Yeah, that was your big call.
Then they've come back.
Yeah.
Bevo was nearly sacked. Yep. They've coming back. Even
early in the year, Melbourne
and
the Cats were back in. We're like, Melbourne and the Cats again, and then they dropped away. And every team has had their ups and downs.
Literally. So that's good. Moving on, Carlton Hawks. We'll spend a bit of time on this because the next two are sort of crappy games.
What's the past players group saying in the Blues?
Do you know what? You know what was very funny yesterday?
Were you their guard of honour?
I was not their guard of honour, and I didn't get invited.
All the Carlton legends were there.
Mate, did you see? So is there something here that I've missed? Because Tom Bell was there on the weekend, and he puts up a photo of the a little Snapchat of the guard of honour. And no offence to these boys, all close friends of mine.
Dennis?
There was Sam Rowe, Simon White, Tom Bell, Cameron Giles, who had 2 naviculars, never played a game. I'm like, what's this guard? What was the criteria for getting in this guard of honour?
Stevie J saw like Adam Chatfield, who played 1 game for Carlton.
Mate,
Stevie J, I know him. He's down the guard of honour.
What was
the criteria?
Were you doing this game?
Yeah, I was at the game. Yeah,
I'm not sure.
But you didn't get invited.
Nah, I think it was literally just spin the fucking wheel and see who it lands on, and we'll call them up. I do not know. I'm trying to work out what the criteria was to get in the guard of honour. But maybe I think.
Do you reckon it rattled the boys?
No offence. If Cripper's running out and he's seeing the guard of honour, and there's some of these faces coming out, what's the motivation? I reckon it's the guard of honour's fault this week, and they're not having enough inspiration out there to actually get him up. That was unbelievable.
They really channeled their Adam Chatfield with the performance.
Yeah, I don't know Chaffee, and I don't want to speak ill of him. I'm sure he's a great man because he's a. He's
a blue bagger.
Once a bagger, always a bagger.
Unless you do 2 naviculars and never play a game.
Giles is a good man. He's a very good.
What was his name?
Cameron Giles.
Cameron Giles.
He's Cripper's best mate, but he had 2 naviculars from Adelaide. Never played again, unfortunately. Hey, D'Ambrosio and Dylan Moore, all Australian.
Definitely in the squad. Dylan Moore, I think, should make the team now. D'Ambrosio, the only reason is when I look at all Australian teams, I just think you pick the 1 best wingman.
Yeah.
I think 2 wingmen is probably not fair to the midfielders because more mids deserve to get in. There's only probably 6 or 8 genuine wings in the comp.
So Gulden's
1 winger, and then I'm happy. In my All-Australian team, I would put an outside mid. Whether it's a Zach Merritt or someone like that on the other wing, because you've got to get 8 or 9 of these gun mids in the All-Australian team. But D'Ambrosio should be in the squad because he probably has been the second best performing wingman in the competition.
I have to congratulate Joey as well. He's taken up for 2 years. I've run the AFLPA 21 to 22 match committee selection.
Yeah, right.
The scraps.
and he's jumped in. Conflict of interest, obviously, for me. But
Did they ask you who you wanted in?
no, they rang me the other day about something else. I said, who's taken over? They said, Joey Montagna.
Yeah,
I said, you probably should have gone to him first anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good fun.
Dylan Moore will be in because he plays that role.
Yep.
That the half forward, it's hard role to play.
Death Valley.
And he's doing it.
Goodness gracious.
Clarko speaks about him as a great story of he was nearly done.
He got delisted. He got delisted during COVID.
He was playing for Fremantle in a 14v14. That's as good
done.
as...
I think played one in the last game of the year. Might have been the hub COVID.
Yeah, it was
year,
one of those
COVID
years,
year,
yeah.
and played well enough to be like, let's go with him again and let's rookie him. And
Good on him.
Yeah, now he's an All-Australian.
Hey, don't panic.
That's it.
Don't make panic decisions.
Yeah.
Any more on Hawthorn? I think you wouldn't want to.
I haven't seen Hawthorn live. I was thinking about that when I was at the game. I hadn't seen Hawthorn live too often this year for whatever reason. Just hadn't called a lot of their games, and I was looking forward to seeing them. They're good. They are good. They've crept up on. I suppose a lot of people crept up on me about how good they are. Even spread of talent, and they've all got different strengths. So they've got some guys that are beautiful kickers. They've got some guys like Impey and that, and Weddle that just get it and just fucking run. And they've got some real clever, smart guys like Dylan Moore and Ginnivan. Then they've got the tough fuckers like Jai Newcomb and Warple, and they've got a real good balance of just a bit of everything in their team. Complementary team.
There was, a lot gets spoken about maybe from the old school that don't like their confidence, but I for one absolutely love it. And I just think, you know what, you got to back it up when it is. Weddle after the game, and we talk about the 2 seconds they take out, said something about Carlton. Said, look, hey, we know that they don't finish games well, and we knew that we just had to take them there. And I think he actually said it. I'm saying it nicer than he said it. It was great though. I was like, you know what? Good on you, mate.
Yeah.
Like, fucking go for it.
They lost to Port Adelaide, an fairly unlosable situation early in the year, and even last week against the Giants, lose. They win those 2 games. They're fourth, or equal fourth, which is remarkable. We spoke about Collingwood at the start. Can they sneak into the 8 and all that? Right now, as it sits, like Hawthorn or Collingwood in terms of form and sides that other sides wouldn't want to play if making finals. Hawthorn's
up there.
He wouldn't want to
play Hawks.
It's almost the lower they finish too, the more confidence they're going to have to just go, hey, we're here. Let's just go for it and see what happens.
Yep, for sure.
So that's dangerous. I think we're going to skip the Richmond Sydney St Kilda game.
One BWS refreshingly stat.
He loves Ross though.
So does Joey.
Yeah,
how much?
I'm in the Ross gang.
Okay, yeah.
He's a good coach.
So you never say a negative word about him?
We can say some negative stuff about him, but I don't know.
He cares too much.
No. He shows he said negative words about me. I'll say some negative words about him across the way.
Oh yeah, no, he did. Yeah,
I just couldn't kick. Couldn't run. But then he'd always give me the backhand compliment at the end. But geez, you give great effort.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? He gives you little side swipes as you walk past him, but that's his way of showing love.
You give it back to him a bit.
We need to get Joey back on the show because there's so many things I want to talk to him about. Ross, about Grant, about the 22 under 22. We might need to get you back in, mate.
I'm happy to do that.
You're hard out today. You've got family time, and we love Footy Friends.
Gee, that's crept up,
and
hasn't it?
Family is our
part of the values.
Yeah, it's part of our values here.
Hang on.
Where is your mission statement?
We're getting them up. We're getting them up shortly.
And they're not just going to be a sign on the wall.
You actually live it here.
I haven't even thought about Brett today. I haven't even thought about him. Have you thought about him? Fuck him.
No.
Fuck him, mate.
No, not that I thought.
Why does he need a holiday in the middle of footy season? He's worked too hard.
He's a family man.
Just
he's
signed
got
three signed for 5 years.
Yeah.
Now getting his lick of the ice cream.
Yeah. He's cashed in. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Okay, Richmond Saints, not much needed. But to finish up, this game threw me again, just to finish off the week. Adelaide defeat the Western Bulldogs.
Sums up sort of the year, doesn't it? Just Dogs just all of a sudden won 4 in the trot, looking like being second favourites for the flag, and then they do what the Dogs can do. They put in a shocker every 3rd or 4th week. They always do it for some reason.
Question to you guys on Adelaide before we move on to the Dogs. Next year, Izzy reckons that Adelaide will go well. He reckons their list is good. Do you have Rankin consistently as a mid resting forward or a forward coming into the mid.
He's now
next
a mid.
year.
He's now a mid that can rest forward and play that forward half midfielder. Yeah, I was surprised hearing Matty Nick say he actually is an elite endurance runner, but not time trial wise. But put a footy out there, he'll chase it all day. So I think they need him in the midfield, and then sort of that push forward type that most teams have now. He's
should he run the time trial with the footy, or how do they do
Put one in front of him and just
keep rolling it out. Just keep rolling in front of him. Yeah,
it is such a different run though, isn't it?
It is.
It's just stupid.
Hey, the Dogs had 59 inside 50s here. They've had 59 inside 50s. Adelaide have gone 43 inside 50s.
Yeah, and kicked 17 goals from 43 entries. They were clunking everything. Darcy Fogarty, he's been a slow burn, but if you remember Tom Hawkins, took him 6 years, until he broke out. Darcy Fogarty could break out next year and kick 50-plus goals. Thilthorpe, next year.
You see, we broke about 4 tackles in a row.
He's a couple of beasts down there.
Ben Keys kicked 3. He just keeps making me look like an absolute idiot.
Did you write him off? No, mate. In the first episode of this show we ever did about 4 years ago. He said something about Ben Keys, just be like, get rid of him. And it's just turned into
he's one of those
the best
players you just
ever.
need every single week. He pressures and chases and runs hard and bobs up with goals.
I think I like to play devil's advocate because I think we did a preview show of the year. And when we do that, Dyl goes through 18 sides. You wouldn't believe it. 18 sides are going to make finals. Jeez, they're going to be good this year.
I tipped Hawks for a long time. 4 years.
Jeez, Adelaide are going to be good. Oh, jeez. The Hawks are going to be good. Geez, Sydney are going to be good. Geez, North Melbourne are going to be good. Geez, GWS, all they're going to be good.
But he made Brisbane yawning over here. You're right, Mac? Just tired?
He had a big game on the weekend.
Oh, I did.
Got back in. He reckons off the back of a media push through one mention on the podcast, he got put back into the reserves. For who do you play for?
Surrey Park.
He doesn't have the mic, remember? Remember that.
Surrey Park.
Yeah. Hey?
No, don't worry about it.
How'd you go? Good?
Yeah, it was alright. Cramped up in the fourth, but...
That's all right.
It's not enough salt?
No, not enough water.
This ain't great content, Dyl.
He's done a good job. It's good to have you back, Mac.
Yeah, good to be back.
Playing good footy. Hey, to finish up, how are you?
It's been great to be on. I've enjoyed it. Yeah.
What do you think? First crack, Footy and Friends, similar.
This right up there. The analysis, the detail of like the...
Anthony Hartsinger usually goes for that one. Yeah. So just to finish up, Joey.
How are you?
Tip 1 to win the granny. Who we going?
I'm still sticking with the Brisbane Lions.
Wow.
Been there, done that. Resilience. This might be the year. Lost a bit of faith in them on the weekend, but I still think right now they're my favourites.
Love it. Hey, we need to get Joey back on the pod. We've chewed up our time talking about actual things that matter. I want to go back to the
stories,
day and to get into it.
Coach sprays.
Oh, goodness gracious. Joey, you're an absolute star, mate. Hope the quad feels better.
Thank you. Yes.
Rest up for a big finish of the season. And how
are you?
How you going?
Yeah, good wrap up.
Yeah, good wrap up's better than the start. Thanks again to Carlton Draft for putting this together, and good on you guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks for listening to another Clubby Sports podcast. Make sure you're following us on Instagram at Dyl Friends, on TikTok at Dyl Friends, and if you want to send something in for the show or chat to us on the minis, any bit of feedback, please email me at mailbag@dylfriends.com. We'll chat to you soon. LXX. Thank you so much.